Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unofficial. Dave and Dustin here again. We're going to have Fuzz and Matt actually back with us next week. We do apologize, but we're going to break down NFL this week and all the crazy stuff that happened this past 2 weeks. Dave, how you doing today?
Well, not pretty good because this Panthers team has been driving me up the wall. Um, a couple weeks ago I got to go to the game. Well, just a week ago, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still a great time, enjoyable. But seeing them score more points for the Colts than the Colts did themselves was not fun. Um,
I was so bummed for you because, like you said, you were there. It's just not a fun game to be at.
yeah, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Something needs to change with this offense, and it needs to change fast because I think David Tepper is getting frustrated, and
He has a short fuse.
yeah, it's not good.
Hmm.
But
Yeah. For the Chiefs, past 2 weeks, um, bye week last week, obviously, then won in Germany against the Dolphins. No, it's against a team that hasn't really beat a team over 500 in a while. So, I mean, I don't know how to really take that win. I'm glad our defense played well against their offense. I do like that was awesome to see for me. Um, I'm looking forward to this Eagles game this week. It's a really big game. It's obviously the biggest game of the year so far. Two of the top seeds in both respected conferences. Going head to head on prime time, it doesn't get much better than that. Super Bowl rematch too. Um, I do think we'll lose this game. Sadly, uh, it's just one of those ones that, like I said, we're gonna have a certain amount of losses on the year. This is gonna probably be one of them, and unless if the offense that showed up against the Broncos goes out there, no chance.
yeah,
No chance.
I don't even know how much of a chance you have in the AFC playoffs, as that's the offense that shows up.
I agree. Our defense has been bailing us out. One thing I do want to point out, though, Rasheed Rice, he's leading our team in every receiver stat possible, obviously outside of Kelsey because he's a tight end. I look for this to be his breakout game. It'll be a close game. I do think we lose, but I think it's the game that we all recognize. He's our guy. He's a big physical receiver. He's really good inside the numbers. I'd like to see him get some snaps outside and get some more plays designed for him. But they're using him well in the slot, and I'm pretty sure he's third in the league in catch rate with like 78% right now. So that's really good. I mean, he catches the ball. That's all you really need. And especially for Pat. Pat creates you time, so I'm not really worried about like him getting enough separation because Pat kind of does it for you in the way our offense is. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward for this week for him. I do think this is going to be the most points our defense gives up this week against the team, probably all year. Rushing quarterbacks give us an issue. Josh Allen gives us problems. Lamar's of recently has given us problems when we played the Ravens. So I do think we fall victim to just a tough team. I mean that team's only lost one game this year. And there's a reason why. Sirianni's a good coach. He's cocky and arrogant. Good coach though. Good coach. But I do think we'll lose this week. But I like where this team's headed defensively. I would like to see the offense step up. And if they do, we'll probably win.
That's one thing. Also, the Panthers are going to lose this week. Forgot to say that because they're playing the Cowboys, and I don't think we have any shot against the Cowboys.
Tell him what you told Matt. you want to start.
Oh, I want Andy Dalton to start because if Bryce starts, he's probably going to get killed by Parsons. It might be a long day, but luckily, Icky did have his best pass block performance all year last week, so maybe he can do it back to back weeks. He
That'd
was
be nice.
actually the number one tackle in pass block rating last week in the NFL.
I got a hot take about your game. Dak Prescott loses the game.
I would love it. Our defense is playing really good still, and
I know with all the injuries too.
JC might be back this week.
Could give CD some problems.
Yeah, I hope
Hopefully.
so. Because if JC's back, we'll have hopefully JC Jackson and hopefully CJ is healthy again.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm hoping Von Bell plays. Um, who else has been banged up? That just sucks. Whole team's banged up. It feels like. But I'm hoping that Icky can kind of have a statement game. Like, I mean, Parsons is going to cause problems, but I hope maybe Icky can slow it down a tad bit.
Yeah.
Because
Hey, if you slow him down, it's a victory because guys that good, you can't stop them.
I mean, I like what Bryce is saying in the locker room after the loss against what game was it? I think it was our last loss, but I could be wrong. I think it was against Chicago. He came out and said, "Guys, we just need to like effing get better." Like he's tired of it. I mean, he hasn't lost his whole career until now, so
Yeah.
and he's saying that he needs to get better also. I've been seeing a lot of analysts come out like they're defending Bryce. Fan bases and fans are not defending Bryce. People are like, "Oh my goodness, he's a bust." But the analysts are saying the same thing I've been saying is his line and his receivers need to get better. He's
He's
not
in a.
getting.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but you got to remember he's also in a similar first year situation as Matt Stafford's first 9 years in the Lions. But we'll just talk about first years. Matt Stafford's first year, Joe Burrow's first year. Um, who else had rough first years? Obviously
Peyton,
Mahomes didn't even get to start his first year.
Peyton had one of the worst rookie years of all time. Like he
Exactly.
literally leads the rookies in most interceptions thrown.
Trevor Lawrence as well. I knew I was forgetting a more recent one. Exactly. Like I don't think it's time to panic in Carolina, and I don't think anybody is panicking inside the building except for Temper
Yeah.
because he's gonna have to move leadership around, and that's a given. That's obvious.
Here's the thing
But
with
I don't think
Temper.
I think the players know they're a better team than this.
Yeah. Temper is definitely annoyed because he just got a bunch of offensive minds to this organization. This is our first head coach with the offensive minded head coach. Like, first time in the history of the Panthers. Every
You
other,
usually build defense.
yeah. So they were expecting to come in and look better than what we did last year offensively, and that's not been the case at all.
Hmm.
And there's multiple reasons. You get rid of your number one receiver, that's gonna hurt, and you don't really get anybody that's anywhere near the number one receiver he was. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have prime Thielen. We have a little bit older, still good, but he's not a number one.
Yeah.
And none of the young guys have stepped up to show that they could be a number one in the league. Mingo's
Speaking of
off.
Mingo,
Mingo,
oh, I
terrible, terrible
okay,
route
okay.
runner. Yeah, Mingo's an awful route runner, unfortunately.
You guys don't
And
have much luck with the recently of drafting of receivers.
yeah, I'm
Besides
hoping.
DJ. Besides DJ.
Yeah, and then so I mean, you look at that, it's just bad. It's a bad position for Bryce coming in
Mm-hmm.
with a offensive line last year that played really well to taking step backs this year and receivers not helping him. It's a the analysts have been saying that Bryce does need to get a tad bit faster in his process, but it's hard to do that with how much pressure's on him
Mm-hmm.
right now, and the
Yeah.
receivers not in space.
Yeah, well, analysts are gonna analyst. There's a number about everything.
I'm still behind you, Bryce.
Hey, we'll keep pounding over here.
Yes, sir.
But speaking of rookies that need to step up into a number one spot, breaking news out of Cleveland today: Deshaun Watson broken shoulder in the Ravens game. He's gonna have to get season-ending surgery. Matt's pretty bummed. I know he's not on the show today. He's gonna elaborate on that next week. Obviously, after whatever happens this weekend with their game with the Steelers, it's a big game for them.
Have they announced who's starting, or are they going back to
They're going to DTR. They are going
PTO?
to the rookie. Yeah. So the rookie's got to step up. And with the way their defense plays, it's the same situation, like I said, with Zach Wilson. You don't throw picks and you don't fumble the ball, you might be in good hands because your defense is that good.
Man, if he steps up and plays and leads them to the playoffs, he might be in to a starting job next year.
Ooh. I'll
I
let
mean,
Matt elaborate on that because
I feel like that's the only reason you go with the rookie. If not, you would have just went to back to PJ.
maybe
It's
they were really high on DTR in the preseason.
and I don't even think like I'm not even saying fully it has to be with Cleveland that he would step into a starting role. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, he could get a job for sure. Like look at Josh Dobbs. I mean, similar
he was
situation last year. Like
he was on Cleveland's roster until the last
yeah,
day off season.
yeah. And I didn't Jacoby get hurt at a time last year, and Josh had to play for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
So I mean, I don't put it past him. Like you said, he's a rookie too. So like, hopefully he's had some time since that Ravens game.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
unfortunately, that was one of the tougher teams he's going to play. I
yeah,
mean,
but he's playing another AFC North defense.
yeah.
Do they
The
Minka
def-
back this week?
I'm not sure if they have Minka or not. I haven't really seen much news about that.
Hmm.
I know that they're. I didn't get to watch much of the game, but what I was
Mm-hmm.
like seeing little pieces, their pass defense didn't look the greatest last week.
Mm. I mean, it's tough though because I don't think he was playing, but Christian did tell me Joey Porter's starting to get like all the snaps
Yeah,
instead of Wallace, or more snaps than Wallace, so he's happy. But speaking of Pittsburgh, with Deshaun going down, Cleveland out of and Cincinnati, excuse me, out of the playoff race right now. Do the Steelers capitalize? It's the time to capitalize. If your offense is ever going to flip the switch and turn on, I think now has to be the time. You're 6-3. You control your own destiny from this point, and Joe Burrow's out of the playoffs, and Deshaun Watson just went down.
I think they capitalized against the Browns
You
because
think
of
they
the
win?
injury. I think so. Before, literally yesterday, I was saying that I think Cleveland wins this game,
If
but
they
now
had
with this
Deshaun,
going down, I don't. It's going to be a tough win.
it's a tough one.
I don't think it's going to be because of the Steelers' offense again, but
Mm-mm.
I don't. I don't. The Steelers might make the playoffs. I mean, right now, if you look at it, their probability is probably really high,
Yeah,
but I
but
just
the
don't see
AFC is good.
exactly, and I just don't see them beating the Ravens, and I don't even know if they're going to beat the Bengals out for the playoff spot.
Mm. Speaking of the Ravens and Bengals, that's our first game of the week. How you think this one goes?
I think Ravens win the game.
I do
Um,
too. Both teams coming off a loss. Usually, I would pick the one coming off the loss, but it's hungry dog. However that saying goes, the hungry dog, whatever. I don't know how Pat says it. I watch too much of that show.
I Ravens blew that game last week.
Yeah,
Like so, I
the
think
Ravens lost the game,
yeah,
and Cleveland capitalized because Deshaun played a perfect half.
yeah, he did.
Like if you tell anyone coming out of the half that Deshaun's going to play perfect in the second half, you probably would pick the Browns to come back and win that game.
Yeah,
But
Lamar can't make those mistakes in that second half. You can't give teams extra possessions once you're up by 2 scores.
I agree.
But
Hey, I do think the Ravens win this week. I agree with you. But speaking of a quarterback almost giving teams extra possessions and losing, we just saw that happen with the Houston Texans and the Bengals last week. CJ Stroud dethroned Joe Burrow on my list. Not kidding. I told you during the game I'm going to have a hot take this week. Here it is. CJ Stroud better than Joe Burrow. Facts.
for this season, I will definitely say CJ has played better
Oh, yeah,
overall.
it's right now. It's right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
But I want to talk about something. Let's push off these key games for a second. Is CJ Stroud in slash leading the MVP race?
I think leading. I'm not going to be biased because if you put anybody else's number, like name with those numbers at this point in the season,
Yeah, he's
enough
number two
said.
in passing yards,
Mm-hmm.
only behind Sam Howell. He has a 15-2 touchdown to interception ratio, I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
Um, those are great numbers and definitely, I mean, I don't, why do
That
people care?
team had the second and third overall pick.
Yeah. Why do people care so much about the freaking rookie status? Like, why does him being a rookie matter if he wins MVP?
He's
It
playing like
shouldn't.
the most valuable player.
Yeah. And you can't deny that. Last year they had Davis Mills and almost the same roster, did make some improvements, definitely.
Hmm.
But
And coaching.
yeah, and coaching's huge because, like,
D'Amico's a dog.
yeah. And he's put, like, I think these receivers finally stepped up in ways they should have been.
Hmm. Tank Dell, man, that kid can ball.
Yeah, you can. And last week they did that without Nico Collins.
Hmm. Bobby
And
Tree
Noah
stepped up.
Brown's up.
Old Bobby Tree stepped up too.
So, I mean, all these players are stepping up, and that's going to be a tough team if they make it to the playoffs. If CJ's playing with this type of, he's so confident out there.
Hmm. They're red hot right now too.
I'm still taking Bryce over CJ because I think CJ would be in the same situation Bryce is if he was in Carolina.
I agree with you. I think it wasn't a picture perfect first year situation, but I
Yeah,
think that Bryce knew that,
yeah.
and he's like, and it's like okay with him. Like he's not. It's not like there's no freak out. Like you
I
said,
feel
he just wants to
bad.
get better.
I feel bad for him. Like, how are you not going to bring somebody in the trade deadline? I did hear two names they contacted. They contacted for Devontae Adams and T. Higgins. Both teams weren't willing to trade away the receiver.
Mm.
But there's so many other players. Like, there's other receivers we could try to go after. I would have been calling up the Lions, asking what they want for his former teammate. Like, he's not performing well in Detroit.
They use him as a decoy for everything.
Yeah.
He
And
runs the deep balls. He just clears out.
yeah. And that they need to be able to use him in different ways,
Hmm.
but you're not wanting to be like, let's get this guy the ball once you have St. Brown.
Yeah, I agree. And all their other receivers step up and catch the ball, like Reynolds, Raymond. I mean, they're all good.
Yeah. So, I mean, if
And
I was
Laporta,
Carolina,
I forgot about Laporta.
yeah. And that freaking duo of a running back
Two
group,
headed monster. Oh my gosh,
you can
bro.
have both of them on your fantasy team and start both of them every week, and they're performing better than most number one running backs in the league, I feel
I
like.
got Monty. That run when he took off, dude, I was going nuts. Because I was like losing until that point in fantasy, and I was like, go,
Yeah.
go, go. Yeah, but I do think the Texans are a pretty good team. I don't know if they keep riding. Like, if they play, this is a given. If they stay how they are right now, they'll be a playoff team, I think.
Yeah.
But I do think they're going to have their struggles. A team that had the second and third pick, they probably should, and they will.
It was shown that they're going to have struggles because Carolina beat them. That is
Yeah,
Carolina's only win,
yeah.
like, is against the Texans. So there's going to be struggles.
Hmm.
If you can protect him and CJ though, not get
He doesn't
he's
make mistakes.
not making many mistakes. Um, I think the interception he threw, there was a tad bit of pressure on him. Like, it was a bad throw. Like, it
Hmm.
wasn't a smart decision, but I think there was some pressure on him on that throw. So, I mean, the Bengals didn't do a very good job at getting to him.
Yeah,
I think they were out one of their best pass rushers, though.
yeah. And then they're going to be without Hendrickson.
Yeah, so
Although I don't believe his injury was season ending, so that's good.
that's good.
But our next game of the week, we got Raiders Dolphins. This Raiders team red hot,
Yeah, they are.
riding the coattails of AC. They like him.
So they're playing so well behind him, and that's sometimes what you need is just a change of scenery because clearly that team didn't like playing for McDaniels, and
Hmm.
who would?
Hmm.
So, I mean, what do they do? Like, if they beat this Miami team,
It's gonna be bad. At least this team's at 500 though.
yeah, there's going to be, it's going to be a crazy ending to the West if the Raiders beat a team like Miami, because then
And the
you're like,
Broncos stay hot because they split with us now.
Yeah, and they just beat another top team. Like,
Russ looked good on that last drive. He looked really good. And I've always been a supporter of Russ before the Broncos stuff happened. Like, I've always thought he was like, he should have won an MVP at some point. Obviously, like, he kind of like sold himself out of a few, like at the end of the year.
yeah,
But I mean, he's looking good right now. And I'll
yeah,
give him his flowers for it. We gave Baker his. I'll definitely give Russell Wilson his. The dude has a Super Bowl championship.
yeah. And if they continue playing this way, they're
Defense is good enough. We all know from last year that 70-point game, that wasn't real. That shit was a fluke.
no. And I think there
I
was
mean,
things,
not a fluke because you're an NFL team who scored 70. That wasn't a
but
good. That wasn't
I think players like Simmons and stuff was out that week.
a.
And I
Mm-hmm.
don't say just because your starters are out, you should give up 70. But let's be honest, a team like Denver does not have the backups of a team like Philly.
Yeah, the depth. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I agree.
why those teams are making Super Bowl runs where Denver's struggle. Like they're like he's a quarterback away because you're just looking at the starters. You're not looking into the depth in case injuries happen.
I want to take the hot hand and pick the Raiders, but I can't. I think the Dolphins will have a good week. I think the Raiders will keep it close, but I think the Dolphins probably scored 24 to 28 points. Raiders like 21-17 around there, and I think that's probably where it's at. Would love for the Dolphins to win though, because stop the Raiders.
So like I'm curious if they lose. Like say the Dolphins win, does this burn out the Raiders like what they got going on, or do they end up just continuing it after the loss and like bouncing back in a good way?
I think it could help, like what you just said, the bounce back effect. I think this team with more adversity towards them, I think they'll shine through that. Like, you know what I mean? The more you throw at them, I feel like they'll answer it.
Yeah.
So it might not be good for me if they lose this week. They could
Me.
win, get their hopes up, and then maybe we'll beat on them a few times. Our last game of the week, though, I'm excited for this game. How do you feel about it?
Ooh, I'm just excited that we have some decent football.
Yeah, that's true. And we did Bengals Ravens. We broke down my game because I already said I thought we would lose.
Yeah. I think I hope it's just a good game between like I hope it's like it feels like a playoff game for this Monday night game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have some good football to watch.
Yeah. But we can break down the Jets and the Bills a tad bit. Like that should
Oh,
be a
that's a big game for the NFC East. I mean AFC
yeah,
East, sorry.
yeah.
NFC.
But I mean, we have a struggling Bills team that just they blew the game. Like
Mm-hmm.
dude missed field goal and you have 12 people on the field. That's terrible. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't do that. Um, and then you have the Jets. They lost, but who did they lose to?
It was a
Crap.
close game. It was against. It was like last drive of the game. Let
Was
me
it
double
was
check.
it the Raiders?
Raiders.
Let's
Yeah,
say I thought
Raiders.
it was. And like it was a pretty good game, low scoring, but Zach threw an interception. It seems like if he has at least one turnover, it just seems like they don't win those games.
I agree. And I mean, Rogers, like with it all on the horizon of his like possible return date, you got to get your team like some cushion wins. You can't just be fighting 500 all year. You can't go back and forth because when Rogers comes back, it's not going to be worth it for them to risk his Achilles on the field if
They
he's going
might
to
not.
have to, yeah, if he has to win out to get in. Like,
Yeah,
and with how good the AFC is, this is a game that if they win, we're going to be talking about them next week. Like, if could they win the Super Bowl if Rogers comes back? But if they lose, it's like we're like we kind of forget about them.
if they lose,
But
it's kind of like why bring Rodgers back because they will be what
but if you
four.
win, you sweep the Bills and you're ahead of them when it comes to the wild card race.
I was about to say they'll be 4-6 if they lose,
Yeah, you got to
meaning
win.
yeah, they have to win for because I mean
Division
you're
game
not
too.
you're not making the wild card most likely, and Miami's most likely winning that division.
They need to root on the Raiders and they need to beat the Bills this week to
Yeah,
be like, oh, we got a chance at the division here.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's but you gotta get a few more wins, Zach. You almost need to win out, Zach, if you
mm-hmm.
want your team to be able to be
and I
comfortable.
think, and I think, how many games will they? They'll probably have like what 4 or 5 games before Rodgers comes back.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm thinking 5, 6 games.
Okay, so if Zach
They play.
himself, this is a stretch, but if Zach himself can just win 3 of those games, scratch that. If Zach can win 2 of those on his own by just putting up great numbers in 2 of the games, high scoring, like he beats the team basically. Like maybe the defense didn't look the best on those days, and I promise you, at least 1 or 2 more games out of those 6, excuse me, your defense can win you a game.
So they need to start by this week beating the Bills
I agree.
because the next week is the Dolphins. That's going to be a
Okay.
tough game.
Yeah, back to back division too.
Then you have Falcons. That's a winnable game. You have to win that. You
If
should
they
be two.
win, yeah, if they win this week and next week though, the Jets have the division.
Yeah. So then after the Falcons, you go Texans, and that's going to be a tough game. So he might be 2-2 at that point
Mm-hmm.
if he wins this week. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then December 17th will be the next game, and that would be like right around when they're saying Rodgers could come back because they're
Mm-hmm.
saying mid to late December. So say he's not ready for that game, that's against the Dolphins again. You have to win that game if you didn't win the first
Then they
game.
play Cleveland.
No, then they play Washington.
Washington, then Cleveland.
So most likely Rodgers will be back for Washington, I feel like.
Because he's going to want a game before Cleveland.
Yeah.
He's not going to, Cleveland's not going to be his first game back
My thing
against
is
their defense.
if his first game back is against Washington, then it's a short week because it's Thursday night against Cleveland. His best bet is coming back the
Cleveland.
17th.
I think it might be to come back in Cleveland because he comes back on a Thursday. He still has a whole week and a half versus only a week after his first game. So,
I
like,
think it fully depends on the record.
yeah,
Say they go 2-3, where they'll be still below 500 at that point.
it's not worth it.
Then he's got to come back against Washington because then you got to win those last 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. If he's available for the Dolphins game, say Zach's 2-2, and he's available to come back on the second Dolphins game, that's probably best case scenario for the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
But with this injury, you want him to be as healthy as possible coming back. You don't want to bring him back from an Achilles and him just go down the first game back.
Yeah. I hope that's not the case. I hope he comes back, and when he comes back, it's for the rest of his career. Like we get to watch him play out the rest of his career.
I just don't see the point in bringing him back if this
If
next
you're not in playoff contention, I don't see the point in that either.
yeah, because
I hope they don't.
if they're 2-3 out of the next 5 weeks, and then he comes back against Washington, they're probably gonna have to win out and have hope somebody else
Other people lose.
because if they're 2-3, that means the best they can go is 9-8. You're not making the wild card at 9-8.
Not when the Bengals already have 5 wins, and
Yeah.
they're not even in the playoffs.
So I mean,
Tough.
they're gonna have to
We'll
win
see
the
though.
division. I don't think you win that division at 9-8.
They have to win the next 2 games and take the lead of the division, gain control of it, so that way when Rodgers is coming back, it's like, oh, you're not just fighting for wild card. You actually have a shot to control the division and just get a home game in the playoffs. Then he's like, that's maybe when I'll come back and have a short week and then play Cleveland.
They really needed to beat either the Chargers or Raiders.
Yeah. The Raiders game would have helped, but they got matched up against them at a bad time in the season.
Yeah,
Because if McDaniels is their coach, they'll lose that game.
definitely.
Mm.
Best case scenario, they're 3-1 probably at the end of these 4 games, and
Speaking of 3-1, let's jump to the NBA. We had some awesome action last night in the Warriors game.
every game,
Sorry for the 3-1 comment, but
every game though.
yeah, I don't know what happened last night. By the
Was it?
way, the Wizards, I know, spam in the comments if you want. It's awful. It's a pool party though, so just grab your trunks, grab your towels. It's gonna be fun. There's no defense here at all. Like it's only buckets. We only have fun. That other stuff is lame. That's what Kuzma and Poole act like. So, but that's my rant on the Wizards for now.
I
Um,
just
Duke
so
got Cooper flag, so just throwing that out there. Go blue.
last night you have like Anthony Davis pushes a guy. You have Draymond acting like he's in the WWE or UFC. You
My
have
brother in Christ. That game was 110 seconds in,
yeah.
and he said, "Come here.
So from
You
an
better call your
opposite
mama."
angle, I finally saw
Ru-
Gobert
yeah,
have
Rudy grabbed Clay's neck. Rudy grabbed Clay's neck.
so that is 100%. I'm okay with what Draymond did. I didn't think Gobert did anything at first. I thought he was trying to break it up,
Mm-hmm.
but then I saw he had him by his neck. I'm like, you deserve it, dude. I don't like you anyway. You shut down the NBA a couple
He
years ago,
ruined sports.
bro. Let's
Sports.
so me and
Fuck
we
you,
had a
Rudy Gobert.
conversation about just Rudy Gobert in general. Funniest thing ever because dude did everything wrong. Shut down the NBA. Honestly, why did he win a Defensive Player of the Year? He's not even that good.
Mm-mm.
We named over 30 bigs that we would have probably over him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was
Julius
bad.
Randle, Evan Mobley, Bam Adebayo,
'Cause
probably still Anthony Davis, and he's hurt half the time.
we were talking
He's not
about
even the best French player in the NBA anymore.
we were talking about
Am I
if they
wrong?
no, you're not. we were
I
we were talking
mean,
about first and second team in all NBA. We were
mhm.
like, if they would make the power forward and center like just bigs in general rather than having a position for those, he wouldn't make any of the all NBA teams. Like
No.
not any of the three, because we were like the first two are going to be Jokic and Embiid, obviously.
Yeah.
Then we had also Giannis would be in there.
Mhm.
KD would be in there because he's a power forward now.
Mhm.
You would have Wemby. You would have Chet. All those players, that's 6 people right there. That makes him not in the All NBA.
Jordan Poole's better than him. Why are you laughing?
Because talking about bigs, and Jordan Poole would be a better big than Gobert.
Kuzma's better than him. Kuzma's a power forward.
So we had, I was like,
I'll
I would
take the
even
guy
take
who could score
Draymond.
30 and 10.
I said I would take Draymond and Kuminga over him. Like,
I'd take Alperen Sengun over him from the Rockets. I'm not even exaggerating. He's good. I like Sengun.
I would take Zacchaeus or whatever his name is.
Vakitis from
Vakitis.
Semi-Pro.
Yeah.
He starts doing his stretch.
Yeah, I would take him over.
What the hell is he doing?
I would take Jackie Moon. Like,
I'd take the washing machine they traded Ed Monix for.
that was a good washing machine. I can't believe I gave that.
They were bummed about that. He said, "Hey, if you see a rat, try to kill it. It's not a pet." Oh
But,
man, what else happened in the NBA this week?
Clay
Wemby lost to Chet, and
Yeah.
those two dudes don't like each other. I don't know if Wemby cares about Chet as much. Chet doesn't like Wemby. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you were the guy last year getting all that hype, and then just because you got hurt and couldn't play, everyone
Right.
starts talking about this dude the next year.
Yeah.
They put it on him. They beat him bad. That photo of the jump ball, those two are aliens.
Yeah. I don't. Why did you watch the replay of the whole Clay thing? Like, why did Clay get kicked out of that game?
He got grabbed by his neck. I'm not sure.
Like,
He
dude
probably
literally had to put on a whole
he's
new
Clay's
jersey.
funny. He probably said some really bad, like some ignorant shit. It was probably really funny.
I knew as soon as that. I love the fight by the Warriors though,
Oh
because
yeah, you got
they
to stand up for your guy.
I'm not even saying that. Like, they almost won that game somehow. Curry was already sitting out.
And without the big three.
So then Clay wasn't playing, Draymond wasn't playing a minute into the game.
Mm-hmm.
You still have Chris Paul, but dude wasn't our leading scorer. It was a rookie.
Who
Stepped
was it?
up. I don't even know how to say his name. Brandon Podziemski.
Oh, he got that. Yeah, one of them Dirk last names.
Yeah, he's from Santa Clara, like college Santa Clara, it says.
Hmm.
Yeah, I knew, I watched him a few games. I was like, this dude gonna be decent coming off the bench. And then he's our leading scorer yesterday and was a bucket. And then he ended up with a big gash, like it looked like he was in a UFC fight. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, what's going on? Whew. But I think that's really all NBA I got right now.
Yeah, it's at that weird point in the NBA season, like after it starts and once it gets going, a lot of people stop watching. But we're gonna try to stay up to date and make sure we keep you guys up to date with everything going on. I know in college basketball, Duke took care of Michigan State last night.
It's a
Let's
good
go,
game.
go blue. Lost to Arizona. Caleb Love lit us up again. It's okay. Arizona's a really good team. Uh, they got that kid from San Diego, their leading power forward. He's their leading scorer this year for Arizona. He's a problem, and Caleb Love is there, so like that wouldn't even be including him. Um, Arizona's gonna be good this year. Michigan State's gonna be good. The Walker kid, he lit us up last night.
They were dumb yesterday. With a minute 10 left, they should have been fouling because, they
They
let
let
you.
that whole time. I know they let the time go to 49, I believe.
Yeah, then they ended up fouling. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Hmm.
Did you see
Yeah,
1 and 2 went down in women's college
yeah,
basketball? That was
yeah.
crazy.
And it was night one that they went down.
Yeah,
It's crazy, crazy start to the college basketball season on both sides for women's and
I
men's.
love college basketball.
I love it, love it.
Just
Who won that Kentucky Kansas game last night?
I don't know who
I
won.
didn't stay up. Let me check.
I
Kansas
we were
Kentucky
playing
scored.
2K for a little bit.
Kansas did win by 5. They're number one. Rightfully so. They beat Kentucky in the State Farm Classic.
Yeah,
Um, we're not gonna win the Natty this year. Duke fans, buckle up. It's gonna be a great season. I think we're at worst a 1 or 2 seed in the tournament. I think we're that good.
I was
Um,
watching the game. It's so weird not seeing. It's weird seeing the bench and not being coached.
yeah, it is. I love Shire though. He was one of my favorite players to ever play at Duke. The pullover he had on last night, so
Yeah,
fly. I need that.
it was
I told Matt, I said I need like if mom asks what I want for Christmas, you just
that.
point to that clip. Go find that clip because that was awesome. But I do love this team. I love Jared McCain. Kayla Foster stepped up big time last night. That kid's a bucket. Bucket. Flip, obviously going to carry this team. Jeremy Roach, too, senior leadership. I love where this team's going. I think we're going to be really good defensively this year. Mark Mitchell's going to be a big part of that. But next year, Cooper Flag, you can go ahead and put the ring on us. I'm not messing around. I haven't felt that way since the RJ, like Zion, Cam Reddish trio. And I knew they weren't going to win it. They were way too big of like names. But Cooper Flag, I think he's such a difference maker. I promise. I think he'll average it, maybe not 20 a game for us, but close to 20 and 10.
Yeah, it's. I did you see the big news out of college football?
With
Freaking
Jim,
no. Well, that's big news too because that's just
I was going to let Matt touch on it next week
yeah.
before
We
the
we
Ohio State game. Go blue.
But oh, that's not what I meant to pull up. I'm trying to pull up Longhorns football. So I'm wondering if Arch Manning's going to transfer. The
Oh, I
way he
don't
seems,
think he is. His grandfather or his dad, whoever it was, they said that he's like complete, like he's not phased by Quinn's decision to stay. He's
but my
committed to
thing is,
Texas.
if I'm an NFL team, that scares me. That
I
means this
mean,
dude
he
doesn't
has to
want to.
stay there 3 years anyway, doesn't he?
Yeah, but my thing is you could go play football next year. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was okay sitting out your freshman year. That's cool because a lot of players don't come in year one and just blow up.
Same. He's in the same position as Quinn was at Ohio State.
Yeah. So like Quinn stays an extra year. Well, an extra two now because people thought he might have went out last year.
Yeah.
He said he's going to stay. So, but Arch still came. But him staying again, once Quinn would already be a first round pick. He just now he wants to be hopefully top 5 pick with staying.
Yeah.
He's hoping that's what I'm thinking. That's what this is.
Yeah, it's because Drake May and Caleb are like pretty much locked 1 and 2.
The thing is,
If JJ wins the Natty and like has crazy games, NFL teams would probably take him over. Not over. I don't know about Drake. I don't even know if they
I
take
don't
him
know.
over him. But those three, I think, are the top three right now.
Yeah,
And
but I don't
if
know
the
if
I'm just throwing this out here, if the Patriots get Caleb Williams,
I.
I think it's a worse situation than if they get Drake May. Drake May fits the Patriot
Yeah,
way.
I was.
Obviously, Caleb is a better football player. I
The
am
room.
not. I'm not mistaking that. I don't want people to think I'm stupid.
I don't know if that's true because I think Caleb might be better for the Patriots because the rumor is Bill Belichick might be either a coach or GM for a different organization next year.
Hmm.
The
That
Twitter told
that
me so.
changes. Yeah, that changes. Hmm. Robert Kraft falling in love with Caleb Williams.
But I just think I don't know if it was an NFL team that would kind of scare me away from Arch. Like the Manning name's still going to get him drafted high, but
Mm-hmm.
I want him to be like I want him to go be like I want to go play somewhere, so I'm going to go play. But then other teams might be like, well, this dude's loyal and he's not backing down from trying to take the spot. But everybody knows if Quinn comes back, he's the starter.
Yeah, I mean, look what he beat Bama.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
I would just like to see Arch go somewhere, start, and that because it's going to be the same situation Mitch was in. What there was other quarterbacks that's been in. He only started 1 year in his college career. Is he really worth a top pick?
mm-hmm.
And we don't know. Mitch didn't work out. Who else has been like that? That Daniel Jones. Pretty sure he only started a little bit of games. He's
Hmm.
not working out. Players that only start 1 year at quarterback in the college does not seem to pan out.
I think you're right, and I mean, record showing it right now.
Yeah. So I mean, if anybody has like some people that only started 1 year and they performed really
Yeah,
well,
if we're
put it.
missing any names, drop them in the comments for sure. Drop them in the comments. But before we get off of here, we are going to touch on UFC a little bit before we jump off. 296 coming up. 295 just passed. Yuri lost to Alex. Alex is a beast. We kind of, I think we all kind of knew
Alex,
Alex. He's just huge, dude. Did you see how big he is?
I knew he was going to be a problem.
That dude
At
fought. He was.
dude's coming in, he's
He
making weight,
fought
and
Izzy. That's crazy. They allowed that. That's literally absurd. Izzy fought him.
so it's crazy because this dude he was struggling to make weight obviously before
Mm-hmm.
because that's a lot of cutting, but then he'd come in and fight at light heavyweight, like weight pretty much. Now he's making light heavyweight and then fighting at like 220, like he's way heavier than what light
He's
heavyweight is
huge. He's
whenever
huge.
fight night is. And he's going to be a problem. I don't know how many people are going to be able to beat that guy. And
Someone said unless Izzy moves up again.
I don't think Izzy beats him.
They just said because he's already knocked him out, they think he's like just
Cool, he knocked out a guy that could barely make weight. Now he's gonna have to worry about a guy that's not struggling to make weight. And he's already lost to the dude 3 times.
mm-hmm.
I hate that.
Facts.
I hate how Izzy acts. Because Izzy was like, "Oh, I'm like in your dream. Like you can't like forget about me." Like, dude, you lost 3 times to this guy. Why are you so cocky? You beat him 1 time. He's knocked you out twice. You've only
Clearly,
knocked.
he's rent free in his head,
Yeah. And Alex was
and
winning
that's
that fight when
okay.
he got knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not even an Izzy hater, guys. I just don't know why he talks so much crap on Alex because he wasn't even able to beat Sean Strickland, and look what Alex did to Sean.
Very true. Very true. 296
Alex,
coming up. I know Leon and Colby has been long, long in the making. I'm excited for the fight, even though I think Colby's past his where they should have given his push at.
the thing
Uh,
is, he was trying to get his push, but he wasn't able to get past Usman because Usman was in his prime at the time.
I agree, and I think I don't know if we're going to see a third head kick in a row, but I really think we might. I'm not kidding. We
Bro,
might
I hope.
see Headshot Dead again. Like YouTube is a joke. Oh my gosh, it's a water gun.
I
Continue.
so I'm really hoping that I want to see like Leon versus Justin. Like I want to see some fireworks. Like
Heavy hands, Gaethje. I want to see it.
because we know what's going to happen this fight. Colby's going to try to take him down and pretty much just lay on him the whole time and just do a tad bit of ground and pound.
And
That's
if
what
he's
Colby's
able to
going
get
to
a hold of him, he'll do it.
do. Yeah.
But if not, he might get knocked out or have a
I
bloody
just
face and be talking shit at the end of the fight thinking he won.
there's some other like things I'm like happy about too coming up because like not even like because that card other than that I'm not like the most excited about.
Yeah,
You
Pantoja
know?
has it. Pantoja has his fight too,
Yeah.
and Ian Gary fights on that card.
So does Patty. He
Oh
fights.
yeah, Tony and Patty. That's awesome.
It's going to be a domination. If Patty
Yeah.
doesn't dominate Tony, then Patty needs to
Did
just
you see
retire.
Tony's training with David Goggins?
No, I don't think it matters who he's training
I know
with. Tony's
it's just a Navy SEAL. It's
so,
crazy.
but Sean Strickland's going to face the Plessy.
Yes,
That should be a good fight. Well deserved for.
it's the fight that should have happened.
I'm glad they did it because I don't think they did it for the 299. I don't think Marlon Vera deserved that shot next.
You don't think Cheeto and Sugar Sean should be 299?
Oh, I love it because I do want that's the buy. Everybody wants to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's the right person that deserves the shot right now.
Oh, okay. I agree.
Because I'm
I
excited.
just love Cheeto, but Sean's. I love them both. Like I hope Sean wins the fight. I just want to see fireworks though. I love how Cheeto fights.
I don't for one reason.
I
The
like
dude
when he strikes. He's like when he's inactive. Obvious that's never fun to watch. But when he's throwing those kicks and stuff, like when he's getting unorthodox, that's when I love to watch Cheeto.
I'm confused the way he fights. He's better than some of these guys he's fighting by a landslide, but he
Mm-hmm.
lets them win the first 2 rounds
And
and then
then
for the finish.
dominates them at the end. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you're not going to be able to do that. He
Mm-mm.
looked like he was doing the same thing against Sean because Sean was piecing him up and that until the stupid nerve thing happened.
Yeah.
I mean, but the Sugar Show freaking athletics said that was not it was a no contest, so it's a no contest.
So
Sugar
no
Sean
contest. I trust my CEO.
saying I hope Sean just dominates this division for a while. I hope they're good fights, and I hope
Mm-hmm.
he's a fighting champion. I
Yes.
hope he's. I
I
don't want
think
to
he
see.
will be.
I don't want to see him get like how Izzy was towards his last few defenses. just trying to go the distance. I hope Sean keeps putting people to sleep.
Fireworks, baby. I think that's what he is. He's a showstopper. That dude's a
Yeah.
freak. And he showed me his last fight. The moment's not big enough. He really lives like that. Like that's his thought like process. Like he's just in that state of mind,
Him and
ready
his
to
coach
kill.
called it. They literally said he's going to overextend and we're going to find his chin. He overextended. He
He said,
found his chin.
"Hello." Bink.
And that's the scary thing about Sean is he's so accurate with
When
his
you open up, he's gonna bink
yeah. So like you better hope your chin holds up because
or your
he's
body.
yeah or whatever. But I'm excited. And then I don't know if you want to. We still have a little bit of time if you want. We can go into some WWE
Do have
Survivor
Survivor Series
Series.
coming up.
Whew, it's gonna be
Drew
nice.
McIntyre. This is the big story I really want to get into. We can speculate afterwards if CM Punk comes back. If he
Bro,
it because
we're not
his
talking about this.
his
It's
will be his will be like a Grayson Waller. It won't be a match. It'll be like he
my
just
thing
comes out and he's
is
on the
what if
mic.
he's number 5?
Huh?
Imagine his music.
Randy's gonna be number 5.
That's what I think it will be too. But what if it's not? What if it
But
is?
yeah.
Because
I was gonna that I know what you mean, but I was
because
gonna get into that with you because it's gonna be
we all know Randy's the 5th. Well, we
yeah.
don't know for sure, but that's what we all are speculating
Mm-hmm.
that he's the 5th. But if they throw a curveball at us and it's CM Punk, we hear that music, that crowd's going nuts.
Yeah, I agree. If they do the random thing, I think that'll be the case. But I think to build the match, they're gonna return Randy on Raw or SmackDown. Because I don't know if you saw the clip after Raw. A
I
fan
did.
recorded it of Jay and Cody, and they said me and Jay have friends too. So
Yeah. Bro, screw you, Drew McIntyre. I wanted to see them get the
I'm
championship
no
back.
no I agree with you, but I'm happy he's doing something for
They're
himself
the
now.
greatest duo of all time.
No, but you know what's gonna happen though? That's how Damian Priest goes solo and gets his babyface push.
You think
Because when he gets kicked out of the Judgment Day and he cashes in at WrestleMania 40, it's going to be nuts.
it would be nuts?
Because the whole thing with him, they want that moment when he comes out to cash in. They want that place to go nuts. And since he's in the War Games match, if Judgment, the reason why I think Judgment Day won't win the match. What's up?
What if he doesn't get kicked out of Judgment Day? What if Drew McIntyre wins against who's ever the World Heavyweight Champion and he cashes in against Drew McIntyre to get kicked out of Judgment Day?
That'd be a very Drew story for the WWE. I mean I wouldn't put it past them. The only
Because
reason this is what I think will happen. I think Cody's team, like Seth's team, will win at Survivor Series because if Judgment Day wins and the other guys are just laying there, they're all, why wouldn't he cash in on Seth in that
yeah,
moment? So
he would literally cash in as he's pinning him, like, "Hey,
he's like pins him once, he would hand the briefcase in, cash in like that. That's not going to happen. So like, I mean, it'd be crazy, but
if they do that, that'd be crazy." Because I don't think anybody sees that happening.
no. But I think what'll happen is, or I mean, they could get screwed out of a win too.
Yeah.
I don't put that past Randy or Seth. They're the types to.
Whew. Randy coming back and turning on them
I
as the
don't. I don't. But that's. I think they want Randy to dethrone Seth because I think for WrestleMania 40, their push for to have John on the card. I think they're going to do John and Randy at WrestleMania 40, and whoever wins the World Heavyweight title, like has number 17 at that time. That would be so cool if they could figure out how to do that. That'd be
yeah.
awesome.
I just don't know. I don't know if we'll. It's weird how this is going to play out because I would assume that Cody and Seth's team's going to win just for the fact that with the briefcase being there,
Yeah. It's
you
just
can't
too
really.
tough because the cash in, like
Yeah.
it would have to follow. Unless someone screws them out of a win and like it's like a 1, 2, 3 and they try to run and leave afterwards. But they're in the War Games cage, so I don't think they can.
Yeah, and I don't really see like there's no point in
There's gonna be a winner, and it's gonna be the good guys.
yeah,
Because it's gonna be too good of a night, like a vibe for them to do that. CM Punk comes back, like they'll push
but
the good guys.
do
I'm
you
just
think
surprised Roman doesn't have a match.
so? 2 years in a row, you think that the big like people lose because last year, um, freaking Roman and them lost,
I mean,
and I don't think like 2 years in a row. You think you're gonna like because pretty much Judgment Day is now what the Bloodline was.
hmm.
So I don't know if you want to because they're building the Judgment Day up more and more.
You know that little side storyline they're doing with the Bloodline and the Judgment Day?
Yeah.
Would not be surprised if Jimmy showed up like at War Games, like because if Roman doesn't have a match, he has no need to ruin anybody else's life but Jay. And they're trying to set up that whole main event with Jay and Jimmy at a WrestleMania one day.
So my thing is, if they're doing that, one of them has to have a championship. So, and it looks like they're pushing it for this upcoming WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many stories that could happen that we
Because
don't know.
it's gonna be a double main event, and it's gonna be all about Roman and the Bloodline. It's gonna be Jimmy and Jay night one. If he
And Cody
stops
and
Jimmy, yeah, Cody, and then Cody and Roman. Someone may
Cody.
fight solo.
Yeah.
We'll see though. I bet. Nah. I don't even. Nah, that's out of pocket. I don't even think that'll
Well,
happen.
what are you
I
thinking?
Nothing. I don't even want to throw that take out there because it's bad. It's just god awful. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious what's going to go on. Like, do they have John come back for a match in
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania this year? Do they?
It's 40. Like
He's
he
got to win
has.
the championship eventually, and I don't think.
I don't even think it has to be at WrestleMania 40. It's a big place to do it. It's like the smartest place to like make history, but you could do that at a SummerSlam next year for him.
Yeah, because I almost think you're gonna do Jay versus Jimmy for something
Night
this year,
one.
and means most likely a title will have to come. And this is where I think this story could be going. Damian ends up winning the title at some point before WrestleMania,
Mm-hmm.
and
And then
then
he loses at Elimination Chamber.
yeah, and he loses
This
to.
year's Elimination Chamber, it's the biggest ever. It's in Australia.
I could see him losing to Jay there, and then Jay having the title.
Or or Jimmy if Damian cashes in as a babyface. I
True.
wouldn't put it past them to have Jimmy and Roman with the two biggest belts in like it then it's really finished the story because if you don't it's all or nothing. Jay beats Jimmy, Cody beats Roman, then you just move on with the storylines. You don't have to have a 1,000-day champion. You can let
Yeah,
Gunther lose too. Gunther needs to lose to The Miz or Chad Gable.
yeah,
That's my
I
opinion.
because I either that or John
Or
because
Sheamus, he hasn't had the Intercontinental.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just there's so many ways that
They
this could go.
WWE though, I do want to give them credit because why I didn't understand it at first. I was really upset what they were doing to John in these matches, like just making him lose. But I see why they wanted him to have a fall before he breaks the record. They
Yeah,
wanted him. They want to just build his story back up. So when he
I
comes
hope
back
that's
and it's
what
the
they're
rise
doing.
of Cena and he's dominant again, I think that's what we'll see.
I hope so because I hope John pretty much just comes back for a whole year, defends the title a decent amount, and then loses it to whoever's getting pushed next.
Hmm. And I'm pretty sure after like whatever, since the strike's over, after whatever he has planned to get done, after he does that, he's probably going to just like be doing nothing but work until WrestleMania, like for the next few months.
imagine if he wins the title at some point during next year, and
Mm-hmm.
41 is him and LA Knight. It's a big match right there.
That would be a big match.
Because
And it's similar to the Rock thing without
yeah,
doing it twice.
yeah, and
Because
then
LA
we'll.
Knight would just take the title off him the first time.
My thing is are they eventually going to do Rock versus Roman? I don't think it
But that
happened WrestleMania. It was supposed to
that
happen last.
yeah, that's my thing. Is I don't know.
Because I don't know.
They already made his return, so they plugged his first part of his return when he came out with Pat.
Yeah,
What they do next, I have no idea.
I don't either because I don't see him. I see Cody
No
finishing
idea.
the story this WrestleMania. I mean, if not, then I don't know what's going on
Yeah.
because I don't. Roman wants a break.
Yeah.
He loses the title at WrestleMania. I think.
I hope he loses it before then.
I don't think he will.
They can't. It's too big of a. It sells.
Yeah, it's like the Undertaker thing. Nobody ever wanted him to lose the streak, but it happened. Like this streak's going to get lost at WrestleMania of the
Yeah.
championship. And you can't do
Or
it at just
SummerSlam.
yeah,
Because SummerSlam's big enough you could do it.
yeah. But I feel like you want to do it at 40.
Yeah. I agree. Well, that was a good show today. We appreciate you guys hanging around with us. And if you have any other comments, like we said, just drop them down below. Give us a like and make sure to turn on those post notifications. We'll see you next week.